Hi, I'm Grey Tiger, and welcome to our first development stream for the Cult of Ursun, which will be part of the new Eternal Dynasties mod that I'm creating for Warhammer 3. So, just still trying to set up the stream a bit. If you just bear with me for a few minutes. It's been a while since I've streamed, and my OBS studio seems to be playing funny buggers with me. Okay, alright. Alright, so how do we want to do this? So, Eternal Dynasties, what is it? It's a new mod which will consist of many mechanics, many different lords in Game 3. So in Warhammer 2, I would have separate mods for the mechanics, for either a race or for a lord. So we had the Medallion of Chakwa, which had mechanics for the Lizardman, albeit very basic. Then there was the two Skaven mods for Tretch and Lord Skrulk. We then moved on to the Dwarven mod, which was my most ambitious, I think, at that time anyway. And then there was the Bretonnian Crusades mod, which was quite ambitious as well. So in Warhammer 3, they won't each be separate. They will all be thrown together into the one mod. It might turn out to be quite a large mod by the end of it. But I think it's going to be easier for me to maintain the single mod than a dozen or more. So that's the reason, I guess, for the change over to a single. Glavenus Maximus, hello, how are you, mate? Hope you're having a good morning, evening, whichever it may be, wherever you are. Yeah, so it's a combined mechanics mod. Now, I was intending the first mechanic for the first lord to be for the Dark Elves. I've started creating the user interface for the Dark Elves main mechanic. But since Immortal Empires is so far away, I thought, well, let's try doing a mechanic for one of the existing Game 3 lords. So I had to think about which one I thought might benefit the most, and I think that Tzar Boris could probably do with something based around the Cult of Ursun. Exactly what? Don't know yet. I guess we'll find out as we look at the lore and maybe get some input from people out there. Glavenus Maximus, doing well. It's evening for me now. Evening, so you are likely in... Let me have a guess here. US? I would assume. Somewhere in the US. So, what was I saying? That's right, so the Cult of Ursun. So I thought in this initial stream we'd have a look at the lore for Tzar Boris and the Cult of Ursun. Maybe throw around some ideas about what the mod might include, whether that's new units or just taking some specific units like War Bears and the Elemental Bear and then having a mechanic about improving them. We'll see what we can dig out of the lore. So taking them and then starting on the development. So I've gone to the trouble this morning of creating the pack file already. So we have Eternal Dynasties pack file, which is very bare bones at the moment. So we just have DB, which has nothing because we have no idea what we're going to be adding yet. We've just got a script with basic logging, sending out event messages and translations. We've then got the Eternal Dynasties, which is just the entrance way into the mod. And then the campaign button manager, which just adds the buttons to your main campaign screen. And at the moment, the only one it's adding is the Kislev Cult of Ursun button, which we can find down here. So that's the Cult of Ursun button as it currently stands. Just a little bear face, which there's a blue bear, which is inside the game files, which I just took and tried to make it a little bit golden. And then for a background, at the moment I've just grabbed this file, which just seems kind of appropriate, sort of a wintry hut, because the Cult of Ursun, as I understand it, doesn't worship inside churches. They worship outside in the open air or in bear caves. I couldn't find any good images of a bear cave, so for now, at least, this will do going forwards. With the Eternal Dynasties, I'm going to be changing the way that it creates the screens as well. So in Warhammer 2, I relied on the UI modding framework for the creation of screens and images. That's not going to be the case with Warhammer 3. So with Warhammer 3, I'm going to be using what the developers themselves use, and I'm going to be using the XML, the new XML files for the creation of the UI elements, or at least a number of UI elements. So this allows us to give the layout, and then we can reference that layout in the Lua code. It's just a nice system. I like it so far. I've played with it a little bit. I haven't really done too much with it, but I like it. It's nice to not have to rely on a third-party tool. Cleverness. US Mountain Time. US Mountain. Okay, what? My geography isn't that great. What's the name of what mountain chain? What mountain chain are you in? Oh, excuse me. Okay, anyway, let's jump into the lore of Ursun, I guess. The Rockies. Oh, wonderful. Must be really nice there this time of year. Or any time of year, I'd imagine. I live in Tasmania, so we've got one or two mountains here. A few mountains, which are really nice to get up to. We've got a nice, I think there's a nice trek you can do. It takes about 5 days where you trek from the northern end of the island down to the south through the mountain chain. Haven't done it myself. Wouldn't mind doing so at one time. The westernmost one, I see. Lore. Cult of Ursun. Okay, here we go. So let's just open up a search for Warhammer and the Cult of Ursun. Okay, so we've got the one I've got open, I think. Yep. Are there any other references? That might have some different information on it. I don't know. Something for Tzar Boris as well, I guess. The Warhammer Wiki and maybe the Total War Wiki. So this should have the Game 3 information. Yep. I know they changed lore. I'm not quite sure how much of Boris's lore was changed. It'd be interesting to find out. I'm strange and prefer it when it's the dead of winter and absolutely freezing, but we do get nice summers, even with having to deal with fire season. I see. Yeah, you're not... Well, I guess I'm strange in the same way then, because I moved from the mainland just to get down here for winter, because winters are much nicer down here. Well, the summers are much nicer too, because it's not 40 degrees. Which is something I hated. So I was very happy to get down here. Campaign starting units. Oh, okay, yeah, so this is everything that's in 3. So there's not really much about him, lore-wise, here. Okay, I guess I can't expect too much. And this is probably based on the older lore. Alright, but we'll see what we can find. So, Glavenus, did you... Oh, excuse me. Did you use any of the Warhammer 2 mods that I created? Yeah, is there any mechanic that from them that you really enjoyed? Okay, so we've got a fair bit here to go on. I've had a brief flick through this. I haven't read it entirely so far, but I did have a brief look, and something that stands out to me as a possible thing we can use is the divine law of Ursun. Albion 240 TW. Hi mate, how are you going? Hope you're having a good day. Or should I say hello there? Why hello there. You can say whatever you want. Hi, hello there. Barada, which is Welsh for good morning. Yeah, so I think perhaps the divine law of Ursun might be something we can tap into. We could possibly add some abilities based around these, because I don't believe any of the Kislevite magic references these. I don't know whether we can do something with signs, perhaps. Have a mechanic in there which is to do with signs based on... Well, that kind of be hard to do. Maybe signs based on events? I don't know. Who thinks? Glavenus, I have been following your stuff for a while. I haven't gotten to use them much. Pretty new to the games and wanted to get a firm grip on the vanilla experience. Well, that's certainly understandable. There's a lot to get used to just with the vanilla. And I can understand when you start adding mods in, it can get a bit out of hand. But your stuff has been really great. Oh, thank you. I do try. I must admit that I have a concern that I may have peaked too early with the Hammer of Grogny and the Bretonnian Crusades, because I'm finding with subsequent mods I'm having to make them more complicated. But I hope I don't get to the point where I make them too complicated, like I might have with the Dark Elf one. I don't know. Obion, having a lovely day. Hope you two are as well. I'm having a good morning so far. Just finished my first coffee. I have the remnants of it, which are a bit cold right now. It doesn't taste quite as nice when it's cold. Are you playing Warhammer 3? I'm slightly confused. What's the Eternal Dynasties? A tasty mod, perhaps? Or another cool game? Okay, so Eternal Dynasties is going to be a new mod for Warhammer 3. Which will include the Skaven mods, the Chieftain of the Deep Warrens, and the Plagues of Liber Bubonicus, although they'll both get a bit of a rework. It will include the Hammer of Grogny. I don't plan on really changing anything with those ones. It will include the Bretonnian Crusades mod, and I don't plan on changing anything with those. And it will eventually include mechanics systems for the Dark Elves, the Lizard Men, the Tomb Kings, and, well, whichever lords that take my fancy, to create things for, mechanics for. Today, this is basically looking at designing a mechanic or mechanics for Tzar Boris, so that he's got something to set him aside from the others. and it will be the first mechanic system in the Eternal Dynasties mod. And I'm thinking we'll base it on the Cult of Ursun. So, so today is where you or anybody who's interested gets a chance to put forward their ideas for mechanics for Tzar Boris, and we can go through and we can see how they match up with the lore, if it's possible to do them in game, So that's that sort of thing. It's not something I've done before. It's something I've been thinking about for a while, but I haven't really known how to go about it. And to be honest, I still don't know how to go about it. I just thought maybe let's just try and see how it goes. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And it's been a while since I've streamed anything. I've got a bad tendency to start streaming something, then I'll stop and completely forget it for a while. Hopefully that won't be the case with this, if it goes well. Didn't read the description. Well, no worries. Excuse me, no worries at all. Alright, so what I'm thinking with the Cult of Ursun is it would be one dialogue, one screen, which might hold one or two mechanics. I've already got the framework in place for showing the screen. At least I hope it shows the screen. I haven't actually tested it to see if it works. But it's what do we put in there? What do we base the mechanic on? So I thought we'd have a look at the lore. So let's have a look at the lore. Alright, so the Cult of Ursun. Alright, so Ursun is the religious organization. The Cult of Ursun is a religious organization dedicated to the worship of Ursun, the Great Bear, the god of bears and strength, and the patron god of the Tsardom of Kislev. That's the first time I've heard it referenced that way. Okay, the Cult of Ursun is well patronized and funded, but far less centralized than the cults of the gods long established in the Empire. Okay, it's not Sigmar on that. Hold up, let me switch on my gaming PC, bro. Can type faster. Alright, no worries at all. I shall hold up. Actually, what I shall do for a moment is I'll actually just try running that mod, the framework, and see if it actually starts up. As I said, I put it together this morning, but I haven't actually tested it. So let's turn it on and see if I crash the game or if the game starts. The anticipation is building. An update is available for reshade. Oh, cool. I'll have to check that out. There we go. Thanks, bro. All caught up. No worries. All right. I'll just continue to test this out. It shouldn't take very long. Once I can skip past all these things. Okay, alright. Campaign. New campaign. Kislev. And Boris. Alright. Let's see. Does it crash or does it add the button? We shall soon find out. Kislev is the bulwark against darkness, yet the motherland suffers from its god. Glavenus, I have thought about having a mod that adds unique heroes for each of the 4 Kislevite gods. I was thinking about it more for Kostaltin, but giving Boris a unique priest of Ursun would be cool. Yeah, Kostaltin. I think Kostaltin can do with his own mechanic that sets him apart from Katarine. That's right, Katarine. I haven't actually played as Kostaltin yet. I played as Katarine and then I played as Tzar Boris. I like Tzar Boris's campaign. I've got a feeling I like it more when the Chaos Dwarves have arrived, but it looks like that's not going to be for a long, long time yet. which is quite disappointing. I think the roadmap and schedule that they have has kind of thrown everybody off. A lot of us were anticipating things to be a lot quicker, but then I guess the poor release has caused issues. Alright, so we haven't crashed. At least not yet. Okay. Alright, we didn't crash, but we didn't get a button. Okay, so I've obviously done something that's not right there. Let's have a look. I'll worry about that later. I'll just have a quick look at the log file, see if it even started up. Do we have a log? Warhammer 3 Eternal Dynasty log. No, that's not the right log. That's an old one. Newer mod log. Did it fail? Probably failed to load. There we go. Failed to load mod file. Cannot open campaign button manager. No such file or directory. Will attempt to require this file. So what's its issue? Line 73. Expected bracket. Okay, it's probably a minor thing. Line 73. Expected bracket. Campaign button manager. Campaign button manager. Line 73. Expected bracket. Open bracket. Open bracket. Close. Oops. It's sad to say I often make mistakes like that one. Just minor little things. I won't go through running that again at the moment. I'll just paste this across so I can remember that I've done it. Control A and delete and paste the new one in. Okay, alright. Obion, just reading Boris Warhammer fandom wiki page for inspo. Yes, that's what I was going to go through. Glavinus, I kind of hope the Darklands become the next Lustria Bowl. Just feels like it has potential and would be fitting for it to be this complete maelstrom of violence. Well, let's see. Hopefully we'll get... I hope we get 4 Chaos Dwarves. Although I don't think they'll all be in the one place. We might get 3 of them in that area. Snickich has moved. We will get... what's the name of the dark elf with the who loves the dragons? His name escapes me. He should be in the area. We may eventually get Nagash in the area. Might get Hobgoblin Carnate in the north. Who else will show up in that area? Tretch might show up there. Neferatu at the Silver Pinnacle. Yeah, it could get quite crowded. It's quite a large area, though. I was surprised by how large they made it on the map. Albion, I don't know, Glav. I think Cathay will be the next Lustria Bowl. Yeah, Cathay's not as big as I was expecting it would be, so... Depending on how many Cathay Lords they add, it could be quite messy in there. Rakarth. Where's Rakarth right now? He's on Albion, isn't he? I wonder if he'll stay there or if he'll get moved. I mean, if we get Ind, then Lokia Felhart will probably move somewhere over there. Well, I imagine. Oh, and we'll probably get Lizardmen on the Dragon Isles too. Yes, there'll be plenty to do there, I guess. Alright, back to the Cult of Ursun. Where were we? Right, so each town in Stanitsa in Kislev with more than one follower of Ursun will have a chief priest. Chief priest, okay, so possible new unit. Sometimes called a speaker, who is typically the strongest or largest man in the community. The chief priest speaks for all his followers and for the will of Ursun, letting his village and fellow worshippers know that the bear god wishes from his people. The speaker, he is also responsible for leading hunts, punishing those who break the strictures of the cult, and overseeing the initiation of new members and priests. Speaker is also responsible for the leading of hunts. Let's just make a note of that. Cult of Ursun. Cult of Ursun. Speaker leads hunts. Maybe we could do something similar to the Norska thing. Don't know. Just make a note of it there. Punishing those who break the strictures of the cult. You don't really want to force a player to do certain things, so don't know if that would work. Cleverness, the high elf you mean. Imric, yes, thank you. That's the one who really likes dragons, yes. Imric. I'm imagining he'll still be in the same area. Unless they decide to move him towards Cathay so he can continue his dragon fetish. Break the strictures of the cult. Overseeing the initiation of new members and new priests. Okay. Those wishing to take on the role of a priest of the Great Bear must go into the wilderness alone with only bow and knife, and bring back a tamed bear. While this quest is rarely fatal, it can take years for an aspirant to find a suitable animal. Okay. I don't think there's really much we can do with that. Well, I suppose if you wanted to replicate the ice queen, not ice queen, the ice mage mechanic, you probably could in a similar way there. Alright. As a god of the wilderness, Ursun is not worshipped in temples, but in outdoor shrines or disused bear caves. Okay, right. In the cities, great gardens of pine trees, bushes, and rocks serve as a place of worship. Can you imagine worshipping behind a bush? The shrine hidden in a cave or cleft in the center. Okay. The greatest of these gardens sits near the Bolka Palace in Kislev. Okay, so that could actually be a landmark. Maybe make a note of that. Actually, let's just... split my screen so I'm not having to close it constantly. I don't want to see the log file right now. Don't need to see that. Where is this? Let's just resize this. I think so. And get rid of that. Okay, there we go. So now we're looking at this all on the one screen. Alright, so the speaker can lead hunts. So something else we have is Cult of Ursun. So from that we might be able to create a new agent. Maybe. I don't know. That's not something I've done before, but it could be interesting to try. So what was it there that's jumped out to me? The greatest of the Cult of Ursun shrines is in the Bolka Palace at Kislev. So some shrine, which is a landmark in the city of Kislev, is an option. Could be something that would really benefit Tzar Boris. Maybe if we could have units that are limited to him. The High Elf, you mean? Yeah. Cleverness. Figure he'll still be around the Dragon Isles, though I do hope Malus, gets moved into the Chaos Wastes. Oh, that's right. In the Vortex campaign, Malus is down there, isn't he? Oh, sorry, he's there in the Mortal Empires campaign too. I've got a feeling that the Dragon Isles has actually become a home for lizardmen. I hope it's Teto Eco. I think Teto Eco might show up down there, which of course means that Malice would then move somewhere else. Depending on how much of the map we get, maybe we could get Malice down around the southern tip of Ind or Koresh, if we get that much of the map. I mean, it's hard to say what we're going to get. I think that one that was in the files, which some people have taken to be which was a prototype, some people have taken to be what we're going to get. I hope we get that or more, but I've got a bad feeling it's going to be, at least initially, scaled down. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Okay, so possible landmark tied into it there. Alright, so Father Bear is a fierce, patriarchal figure. He is unyielding and unforgiving when it comes to his strictures, but also demands his followers fend for themselves. Okay, Ursun is a god of bears first, then men. He permits the hunting of his children out of compassion. Under the strict condition, it is done respectfully and with awareness it's a privilege. Not right, okay. I don't think there's really much we can make out of that. Because whatever we try to add, we've got to, I guess, try and fit it around existing mechanics. Because lure does have its limits. That's Glavnus. That's very likely. Teto would be the most likely lizardman, unless they do something with Koresh, which would be a good place to put one of them. Yes, because there's an old city of the... Is it the lost city of the old ones in the middle of Koresh? I'm not sure if that's where the Naga live. Alright, so I don't think there's anything really we can make out of that there. Let's see, where was I? So Ursun is aloof but not unfeeling. He grants prayers to the faithful and common folk, and priests alike may attract his attention by nailing a fish to the door. Nailing a fish to the door. Fishing mechanic, perhaps? If you have a port, you can have a fishing. He grants prayers to the faithful and common folk and priests alike, and may attract his attention by nailing a fish to their door. Ursun highly favours those who demonstrate the strength and courage of his bearkin, however. Okay. So he prefers actions over words. That's the way I read that. A warrior fighting furiously in battle will win Ursun's favour over a priest praying fervently at a shrine. Okay. So those who are cowardly, weak, or who hunt in a disrespectful fashion receive no blessings and may be punished. Such rebuke might mean that Stanitsa has no successful bear hunts that year, or it may involve a great bear charging into town and rending the transgressors limb from limb. Bear hunts. Bear hunts. I wonder if we could have some bear hunting mechanic where that would give you a new type of unit. Or maybe you have to perform the bear hunt, and once you've hunted down this bear, maybe sending an agent to a specific point, then you can get bonuses. No, that's too easy. Just send an agent to X region and you get a bonus. Bear hunts. I think something might be able to be made of bear hunts. Bear hunts. Essentially, they're controlling bear pops. Yes, the culling of bears. I'm wondering if we can take the bear hunt, have it occur every now and then, or have it something that the user can trigger. I mean, Ursun Alright, so Ursun favors those who hunt in a respectful fashion. So I wonder if there's a way of having a hunt where the player could either, depending on what the player does, we could decide whether they were respectful to Ursun or disrespectful. If they're respectful, then you get bonuses for your bears. If you're disrespectful, then you get some, or you get nothing, or maybe some punishment. Could make them like activate hunt and gives benefits to player. Yes. So it talks about hunt being has no successful bear hunts that year. So hunts, there's multiple hunts per year. I think there might be something on this bear hunt thing. Find way to determine. I've forgotten how to type. If hunt is respectful. No idea how to do that. Find way to determine if hunt is respectful, which grants bonuses. Disrespectful, penalties, or nothing. Player can trigger bear hunts. Player can trigger bear hunts. Can they trigger them at any time, or should it only be when you have... We have the devotion resource, which is already in the game for Kislev. Now, how does Tzar Boris use devotion? So he can use the devotion to implement one of those 4 Kislevite rituals. And the devotion is also used to keep the chaos at bay, and the devotion is used for the creation of those temples to get the patriarchs. I think those are the only 3 things he uses devotion for. We could have it that if you have enough devotion, you can choose to trigger a bear hunt. Maybe. Let's just put that down as a possibility. Lots of question marks, I know. Glavenus, having some kind of scaled down fight against a bear army or an army of Norskins or Greenskins that's threatening the bears, where you have to fight with a handful of units against a smaller army. Yes. I'm not sure about the Norskins. Greenskins, maybe. I mean, if it was... I don't know how much fun it would be to have a small-scale battle with just, say, a couple of bears, and you're limited to a certain size army. Oh no, you're not limited to a certain size army. If you want, you can take a big army, but the larger army, the less respect you'll earn. That could be interesting. Speaker agent only causes hunts then. Also could give campaign mobility to armies. Campaign mobility, yeah, because he is the one who arranges the hunts, isn't he? Oh, and he leads them too. Let's just put that down onto the next line. So leads hunts, campaign movement, bonus perhaps. Oops, forgot where the bracket is. So I'm still on the point. Having some kind of scaled down fight sounds great. So the player can trigger a bear hunt, possibly with devotion. So we need to find a way. Was the hunt respectful? So when we're doing the hunt, so as you suggest, Glavenus, possibly an army of bears. Find a way to determine if hunt is respectful. So maybe a hunt could be respectful if smaller army means more respect, because it's going to be tougher for you, possibly. larger, less bonuses. I don't know. Obion, yeah, and not always guaranteed to be respectful. Yes. So, Glavenus, having more to do with devotion would be really great to have as Kislev. Lord unique stuff to spend it on would be great. Spending the devotion on your lords. Spending devotion to upgrade your lords. Is there anything in there like that for the moment? No, I don't think there is. But maybe instead of spending it directly on the lords, whichever lord you use in the bear hunt gains the bonuses from that devotion. Because you're spending the devotion to trigger the bear hunt. And then if the bear hunt is respectful, if the bear hunt is respectful and successful, then maybe that lord gets the bonuses for himself. Yes. Perhaps the lord that leads the bear hunt can receive the bonuses. How I'd limit it to a specific lord, I'm not quite sure. Have I done anything like that before? Oh, yeah, I might be possible using the CQI of the lord. That's the character ID behind the scenes. Having more to do with devotion would be great. Yep. So takes a risk, but rewards are really good for player. Yeah, I guess you are taking risks if you've got your small army of, say, 4 units on the bear hunt. Perhaps when the player chooses to attack the bear hunt, player attacks bear army, for lack of a better word. Oh, hang on. No, bears don't go in packs. When player attacks bear army, oh no, they'll get the idea of how tough it's going to be anyway, so I don't need to add something special for that. Glavenus, think along the scale of Cathay caravans, maybe. Also, speaker could be bow and spear. The speaker character. Okay, yep. Oh yeah, because we don't have a ranged. They don't have a ranged. They don't have a ranged hero at the moment, do they? Bow/spear. I love the idea of having a huge bear battle. Yeah. Oh, I wonder if we could tie corruption into it. Well, how does this sound? If the area that the battle is taking place in has a high corruption level, then you might get maybe we'd have 1 or 2 custom bear units. You might get bears that have been corrupted. So I guess depending on the type of corruption, maybe we could have a bear or an elemental bear that's been corrupted by chaos in the army. Maybe corruption can play a part. So it would be a good idea to keep the corruption down. Maybe corruption play a part. New units, corrupted bears. Difficulty. Bears on bears on bears. Yeah, there'll be too many bears. That's a pretty good idea. Could also get a unique bear mount out of it for the lord that does it. A unique bear mount. Yes, alright. So currently lords can get bears. So how could we, if we were to have a unique bear mount, how would that be unique? Oh, excuse me. I'm not sure. Okay. Alright. Oh, excuse me. So from a couple of sentences there about bear hunts, we've got a few ideas, Dan. How feasible they are? Alright, let's look. So, a new character that can lead the hunts. So, that probably wouldn't be the case, because we'd need a... Well, yeah, it would be a new type of lord. So it's maybe not a new agent, a new lord, because only lords can lead the armies. So that's feasible. I haven't created a lord before, but many people have, so I'm sure I could find someone who's got experience in that. Player can trigger bear hunts. Okay, that's not an issue. In my Hammer of Grugny, we had the hunting down of the different monsters, the monster hunts. Small army of bears, yeah, that's not an issue. Find a way to determine if hunt is respectful, which grants bonuses. Okay, so I think it's possible. In the lure, there's a thing called the battle cache, where you can see a lot of different things about the battle that's just taken place. I think you can see what individual units were used. So if that's the case, it might be possible to decide, based on what units were used, how respectful the hunt was. So might be that might be feasible. So giving a specific lord bonuses, I think that's feasible using the CQI, because in my Bretonnian Crusades mod, I gave it so that a specific lord had a free army. So I think that might be possible. Speaker could be a ranged hero. Alright, that might need to change to a ranged lord. Maybe corruption could play a part, possibly. Okay, so we've got a few things there. What about a different way? Agent goes on hunt and disappears for a couple of turns. Player has no control over the outcome. I prefer Glav's battle idea for your information, just an idea. All right, so we're looking there something along the lines of what happens with Deathmaster Snickich and his mechanic. So, okay, so it's always good to have alternatives. So let's put that alternate. Player chooses hero or lord. Sends them on hunt. And then maybe that's where the idea about the caravan can come in. When character is on hunt, player gets dilemmas. As with choices to make. Oh, and yeah. So that to determine whether the hunt is respectful or not would be based on your responses to certain questions or dilemmas. So there might be one where you're tracking the bear, but you have to track it through a sacred grove or something. And you choose, do you want to violate those sacred grounds? So you're being disrespectful, or do you want to go around and possibly lose the bear? In which case you're being more respectful. Yeah. Dilemmas would indicate if player was respectful in hunt. And then there's that there. Avoid sacred ground to lose bear. I don't know, use bow or hand to hand, hand to paw. I don't know. Let's see, where were we? Bears on bears, that's pretty good. Also, unique bear man out of it. Alright, so Glavenus. Give them different stats or unique abilities from the normal war bear mount. Okay, so if we have the custom bear. Alright, I haven't created a mount before, but that's something we could possibly do. Let's have a custom mount. Additional abilities. And higher stats, I guess. Okay, there's something to investigate. Glavenus. Think it might end up something like Troy's Monster Hunt with the Mythos DLC. Send off a lord with a hunting party and get events for the party you send off along the way. Yes, that's right. It was, as I was typing it out, it was sounding familiar. And thank you. That's what's similar to the Troy Mythos hunting. And I think it could be interesting. I've got to admit, I haven't played that much Troy, so I'm not sure how enjoyable the hunting mechanic, the monster party there was with Troy. So I'll just make a note that this one is similar to the to Troy Mythos DLC Monster Hunt. Oh, that's not how you spell Troy. Rioy. Troy, okay. Obion, exactly like Snickage. I think it's not as fun. Like, imagine a Nurgle-infected elemental bear. Oh my fucking god. Yeah, to tie corruption in and have a Nurgle-infected elemental bear. My god, wouldn't that be fantastic? A plagued bear. How cool would that be? Plagued bear would be Nurgle. Oh. Nurgle, not Burgle. What would you have for Zinch? A Zinchian bear? I don't know. Cornate bear and Slaneshi bear. I'm not quite sure for the other guys. To my knowledge, they were a pretty cool addition. Most people liked them. Okay. Alright. Alright, so there's some ideas. Some great ideas, thank you. That's for the for hunts. Let's leave them there for now, and let's continue with the rest of the lore and see if maybe there's something else we can have in this. Courage of his bear kin. So where were we? Nailing a fish. Ursun highly favours those who demonstrate strength and courage of his bear kin. A warrior fighting furiously in battle will win Ursun's favour over a priest praying fervently at shrine. Those who are cowardly, weak, or who hunt in a disrespectful fashion receive no blessings. Such rebuke might mean that the sinister has no successful bear hunts that year, or may involve a great bear charging into town and rending the transgressors limb from limb. A dilemma. Loose bear. So that could be a penalty. Possible penalty. Great bear attacks town dilemma. Damages building. Wounds garrison. I don't know. Maybe something like that. Glavenus. Barrier and some ban spells maybe. Oh my god. Can you imagine an elemental bear with a barrier? A Zinch bear. Barrier. What else do you say? Warp Flame Aura. Ooh, that's interesting. So an aura that causes damage around and infers a weakness to flame. Okay. Right, so you can have magic spells that do that. So it might be possible to do that through the ability system. So barrier and warp, flame aura, which causes weakness to fire. Would be one hell of a boss encounter. Yeah, it would be. Hammond, hi, how you going, mate? Nice to see you. Prostagma. I saw you post that on one of the videos. I must admit, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Let's have a look. Taking a gamble. Prostagma, meaning order or command, with documents issued by the Byzantine Imperial Chancery. Okay. Reference to Age of Mythology. Okay. Something like that. Jabba the Creator. Hello, how you going? Welcome to the stream. Nice to see you. It's from Obion. It's from Age of Mythology. Yes, I wasn't aware. I have not played Age of Mythology. It's what villagers say in Age of Mythology. Okay. Is it a greeting they use, or is it their version of, oh shit, something's gone wrong? What a game, though. I've heard people rave about it. I've heard people mentioning it when Troy was getting the Mythos DLC. But I haven't had the opportunity to check it out. Okay, so I don't know how to spell it, but Hulome. It may involve a great bear charging into town and rending the transgressors limb from limb. So maybe that penalty should also be wounding the lord or hero who's in the hunt. Possible. Hellforger, hi, how you going? Hey, nice to hey, nice to see you modding again, Tiger. Your Bretonnian Crusades mod was superb. Why, thank you very much. I put a lot of work into that one, and at times I thought I'd bitten off way more than I could chew. Unfortunately, I just could not get the repents mechanic out. None of my ideas worked for her. So I'm afraid she just has the vanilla. What is the mechanic she has in vanilla? It's the desert attrition mechanic, really. I think that's all she has. But yeah, it was great fun getting the user interface designed for the Bretonnian Crusades. And once I'd released it, the chap who runs OVN Lost Factions got in touch about making it compatible with with the factions in that, so the Chaos Dwarves and the Araby. And I was very fortunate that was quite straightforward to do. So it's now linked in with that, and it works very well. You can go hunting for Arab. Oh, sorry, not hunting. You can go on a crusade against Araby or a crusade against the Amazons or the Chaos Dwarves. So it was a lot of fun. Opion, Islovi, oh my god, ha ha ha. Yeah, it used it with Lily's Overhaul, and those two mods are amazing together. Oh, Lily does some fantastic stuff. Lily's Overhaul is just full of so many good things. I think it's underrated. It's making that and turning the dirty peasantry into super soldier program. Oh, sorry, that might have been a bit loud. Yeah, I have a tendency to make things overpowered. I need to try and temper that as I move forwards. The Dark Elf one I'm working on at the moment, I've got to try and not let that get too out of hand with the stuff. I might actually show you some of the Dark Elf stuff later. So let's see. So for anybody who's just joined, Glavenus and Obion and I, we've been going through the lore for the Cult of Ursun, and we came across a section here where it talked about the speakers or the priests for the Cult of Ursun, how they lead hunts, and those hunts are allowed by Ursun. He'll willingly allow them to hunt bears as long as they're respectful in how they do it. And we kind of latched onto that idea that we might be able to have either a system like the monster hunts that I did for the dwarves of Karak Kadrin, where you'd have hunts pop up over the place and you'd have to take an army there. And depending on the makeup of your army, the hunt battle would be considered respectful or not. Or an alternate was something kind of similar to the Troy Mythos DLC / Snickage, where you choose a lord or hero and you send them on a hunt, and then you get a series of dilemmas, or you choose an army and you send them on a hunt and you get a series of dilemmas, such as, do you want to, you're pursuing the bear, and the bear's gone over sacred ground. Do you want to violate that sacred ground to ensure you gain the bear? Or do you want to go around? And if you violate the sacred ground, then your hunt could be considered disrespectful. So you might get a penalty or lose bonuses. So there's some good ideas there for a mechanic. We also saw that the Cult of Ursun don't really have much in the way of churches. They have shrines. Apparently the most well known is in the city of Kislev, so maybe a landmark will be added as part of the mod. So we're continuing on with the Cult of Ursun lore. Let's see, did I catch up with anything? Obiane, sorry dude, trip down memory lane there. Lord Hero Wounded works well. Glavenus, well, that was in the vanilla game. I don't know if you want harder with it, but I would support that. Yeah, I did make it so the peasants could become quite powerful. I've toned it down, but I haven't actually updated the workshop with the one where I toned it down. Okay, so where were we? That's right, transgressors limb from limb, so possibly wounding the lord or hero that was on the hunt. So Ursun is a wild god, inconsistent in his justice and brutal in his anger. In his favour of deeds over words, Ursun is akin to Ulrich in the Empire. Followers of both religions get along well, though there is some rivalry between them. Each is keen to prove their god is the strongest, and they are more blessed as a result. Okay, I don't think there's anything really there that we can latch onto. Ursun is a wild god, inconsistent in his justice and brutal in his anger. Okay, well, from that little bit there, we can see that if we did decide to have penalties, then they should be quite nasty. But from a gameplay perspective, it's not that fun to be crippled. Might skip over that for the moment. Games Workshop is changing quite some bit. There may be churches now with new lore. Yes, the new lore. I'd love to see the Kislev army book. Well, I'm assuming there's going to be an army book for the new. I guess you can't say new races, for the old world. That's what they're calling it, isn't it? With the re-release of things. So I'm looking forward to seeing the army books for those and the lore involved. So might be able to make something out of that. I don't know. Rivalry is most friendly, contested with things such as wrestling matches or competitive hunts. Sometimes, particularly when a lot of drinking has been involved. Rivalry can become violent, but is rarely more serious than a bar brawl. Ursun's relative indifference to humans and veneration of nature also makes him much like Tal, and the two religions share more than just a border at the Talamek. Followers of Tal wonder why the Ursunites choose one animal over all others, while the servants of Father Bear wonder how anyone could fail to see the bear's obvious superiority. Though in other respects their cults have little difference and blend together easily. Tal worship often found side by side with that of Ursun, particularly in the west of Kislev. Okay, I don't think there's anything there. Alright, appearance and symbology. Depictions of a bear or bear's face, the most common symbology used by the cult. Okay, so that means that should be an appropriate button for it, which is good. Bear's face. Although worshippers of Ursun might also wear a medallion of gold shaped like a bear's claw. Devout followers of Ursun wear bearskin cloaks or wear a bear's paw as a talisman. Now, I wonder if we could have... I wonder if it would be worth introducing custom units. Just a small, or maybe not custom unit, maybe a raw regiment of renown, which are devout followers of Ursun. I don't know. Maybe come back to that. Amongst the northern tribes, it's not uncommon for Ursun cultists to wear bear's skull over their helmets, or fixed to the front of their shields. Okay, that's a bit gruesome. Worship. Despite his wild nature, Ursun is popular in the Kislev cities as he is in the rural oblast. This status is mostly because the previous Tzar, Boris was also the high priest of the Cult of Ursun, the first to claim that title in over 400 years. Alright, with Tzar Boris being the high priest, should he get additional bonuses maybe from partaking in the bear hunts? So we established you could probably trigger a hunt with any lord, but if you use Tzar Boris perhaps as the high priest, maybe instead of the bonuses being limited to that individual lord, there might be faction-wide bonuses as well. That would make sense. As the high priest of the cult. Tzar Boris, high priest, could have faction-wide bonuses if partakes in a bear hunt. Governance Maximus maybe have separate hunts for heroes and lords, more Snickage style things for heroes and the more army based battles for lords, going on great hunts that take longer. Interesting. Actually, yeah, that's a good idea. We could sorry, that sounded a bit patronizing. That's a good idea. We could then maybe have it so that the heroes could perhaps be scouts for the main hunts. So you don't have to send a hero on a hunt first, but if you've sent a hero, maybe you have a better chance of the hunt turning out for the best. So that would be this alternate one, wouldn't it? So lords with their armies would be the, what did you call it? You said great hunts. While heroes would be minor hunts with different dilemmas. Okay, and then as a caveat to that, we could possibly have hero hunts used as what is the word I'm looking for? Not prerequisite. Possibly have hero hunts. Oh, possibly have heroes scout for major hunts. Okay. More army-based penalties for lords going on great hunts take longer. How about a mechanic themed around the... Okay, so the Hellforge says, how about a mechanic themed around the revival of Ursun? Maybe like rebuilding a great shrine of Ursun, like Eltharion's Cave. Okay, So we're rebuilding a great shrine. So maybe the shrine... Okay, so the greatest shrine for Ursun is in Kislev. Of course, Tzar Boris doesn't have access to Kislev for some time during the campaign. But maybe Tzar Boris could be building a new shrine where he starts. And to build that shrine, you need to... well, do you need to go on the hunts? Maybe. Okay. Let's just put it down in its own section here. Building of shrine to Ursun, related to bear hunts. Oh, no, not junts. Related to bear hunts. Question. Building shrine to Ursun related to bear hunts. Need resources from hunts? Maybe? I don't know. Maybe I build a shrine verse in the Thor's Cave. Glavinus says, have bear hunts be a Kislev-wide thing. Have something built off of... excuse me. Have something built off of it for Boris, with him being the big bear man. Yeah, it might be... I suppose there's no reason why it can't be Kislev-wide. I might keep it focused on Tzar Boris at the moment, but to change it to Kislev-wide is just... would be a very simple matter. I mean, looking at the code... Where is she? Here she is. So in the campaign button manager, to make it available to all Kislevite factions, it would just be a matter of changing this one line to be, if culture name equals Kislev culture, then they'd all have access to it. To give each one individual bonuses based on, you know, who you're playing as. Kislev would be a little bit more work, but to just turn it on and off as it stands for everyone shouldn't be a big difficulty. But maybe just stick to Tzar Boris for the moment, because I'd like to maybe down the track, if we do the Cult of Ursun for Boris, then maybe something different for Kostaltin. I think somebody mentioned at the beginning of the stream. Sorry, I can't remember if it, Glavinus or Obion, which one of you it was, but someone mentioned something about heroes for the four gods or something around the four gods mechanic for Kostaltin. So I'm sure there's once we get full access to Kostaltin's lore, there'll be stuff that we can find. Okay, so Obion says hero hunt decisions affect size of army, or maybe affect bonuses. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So that's what do we have here? A character on hunt. The limits would indicate play respectful in hunt. So that would be part of that. There would be decisions. Decisions affect army / bonuses. Whoops. Glavinus says, makes sense, but it is a big part of their religion and culture, so would be a great addition, or good addition, faction-wide. Alright, let's go, and let's make a note of that then. Possibly make faction-wide, as its core to Kislev culture. then if that's the case, then we'll probably then make Tzar Boris specific would be the building of the shrine. So you've got the main shrine in Kislev, and then he's building a new one to him, perhaps. And going on the bear hunts to get the products for that. No, they would have to work in tandem, perhaps. Okay, so Glavna says it was me. It was you. Okay, thank you. Obion, yeah, it was Glav. Okay, right, we're caught up. So we were. So Tzar Boris is the high priest. Okay, so I made a note of that. He's the first to claim that title in over 400 years. I don't think that's relevant, really. During the Great War against Chaos, the Cult of Ursun was scattered to the winds. Bear God was still revered, but with so many cities and towns devastated, the central cult vanished. Tzar Boris had his encounter with Erskine, the Great Bear. He knew he was chosen by Ursun, took the god's name as his, and brought the faith back to Kislev. His daughter Katerine did not follow in the role of high priest, but is no less dutiful to Father Bear. Okay, well, that's something there that reiterates the fact that we should probably make it faction-wide then. Thanks to the interest of the royal family, worship of Ursun has been taken up feverishly by the Drazinas, I think I pronounced that correctly, and the wealthy folk of cities. There's hardly a street in Erengrad or Kislev that lacks a reminder of the bear god. Ursun is no less ubiquitous in the oblast. That the bear is both a popular folk figure and a cohabiting species means every stanista includes someone who reveres Father Bear first and foremost. Alright, so it seems that it's all over the place in Kislev. So, what did we do here? There was something I jotted down about a landmark. Where did I put that? Oh, here it is. So that should possibly also have smaller building. I don't know if any of the buildings for Kislev currently have anything to do with the Cult of Ursun and Father Bear. So smaller building chain for Father Bear, maybe. What would that do? That would maybe provide devotion. Because if we're going to be using the devotion to trigger bear hunts, we're going to need more of it being generated. Provide devotion to player. Cleverness could get resources from the hunts that could build upgrades in the shrine. Resources from the hunts that build upgrades in the shrine. So the building of the shrine to Ursun. Need resources from hunts. Oh, okay, so shrine has several tiers. Shrine has several tiers. Built up from hunts. Resources. Different tiers. Tiers convey different bonuses to units. So maybe we'd have, I don't know, just as a thingy, tier 1 could equal, what's the first bear-like unit you get access to? Is it the warbears? I don't think it's the warbear. Well, it depends what you want to build, I guess. It's probably the war sleds. So, I don't know, tier 1, map effect war sleds, tier 2, war bears, etc. I don't know, there might be a better way of doing that. The Hellforger. How about a special button for Boris to summon an army like the Writer of Primeval Glory from Lizardman that summons bears of different kinds and strengths, depending on the level of the shrine built? Oh, could you imagine that? Okay. All right, that's good. That's good. So the shrine would be Tzar Boris's thing. So maybe the different tiers affect, what would we call that army? Let's call it Ursun's Wrath army that can be summoned. Different tiers affect Ursun's Wrath army summoned. Size, unit type. Maybe different tiers affect Ursun's Wrath army, blah blah blah. And then on top of that, army ability to summon bears, possibly elemental bear, available at different tiers of shrine. Okay, cool. Some nice additional ideas there. How about special button strengthening depending on the level of the shrine? Light war sleds is the first. Okay, thank you. Untamed bears have been a pretty common modded unit. Could add something for that. Yeah, who is it? Dead Baron has added, I believe, untamed bears for his Kislev mod. So I probably wouldn't add a bear unit of my own. I'd probably just have a submod that would tie into that. XX Big XX 420. Oh whoa. How you going, mate? Nice to see you drop by. Okay, so we've got so let's recap. So we've got, at the moment, we've got maybe two mechanics kind of shaping around bear hunts and the building of a shrine to Ursun, which would be Boris specific. So the bear hunts affect lords and heroes. Player can choose to trigger a bear hunt with devotion, and we've got two ways of doing the bear hunts. Don't know which way we'll go yet, but could be like the Hammer of Grugny, where an army is spawned on the map and you have to go kill it, or it could be like the Mythos DLC, where you're doing the monster hunt and you've got a series of dilemmas. If I was to say which way I was leaning, I'd like to say maybe the series of dilemmas. Although the last thing I tried with my Bretonian mod was something similar with a series of dilemmas and battles mixed in between, and for whatever reason I couldn't get that working. But, you know, I think that might be the better of the two. To go down? I don't know. So, along with that, we've got Tzar Boris as the High Priest, and then you have a specific mechanic, which is the building of a shrine to Ursun. And as you perform the bear hunts, you gain something, not quite sure what, which allows you to improve your shrine. And then different tiers of the shrine convey different bonuses for different units. And maybe we can have it so the player can actually decide which unit is going to be getting the bonuses. Different tiers will also affect a spawned army, Ursun's Wrath, which is much like the Primeval Glory army, the Lizardmen. So that would be Ursun's Wrath army, and then let's just make a note that's going to be bears. It would have to be bears of many descriptions. And then an army ability as well to summon elemental bears, possibly. Well, summon bears, but maybe an elemental bear. And then we've got the shrine. So maybe small building chain for Father Bear, because I don't think there's a building chain for him at the moment. I might have to start the game up and have a look. And the Cult of Ursun the Cult of Ursun shrine landmark in Kislev, since that's the most famous of the shrines. Memes of Warhammer. Hey, how you going? Nice to see you. Yeah, Dad's done that compatibility thing. Would be nice. Yes. try to make it compatible if possible. Remember the Order gods. Yeah, me neither. Lol. The Order gods. What do you mean? The gods for the Order factions, like the dwarven gods, or? Okay. Where were we? Let's see. During the Great War against Chaos, the cult was scattered due to Father Bear. Okay. Thanks to the interest of the royal family, the worship of Ursun has been taken up feverishly by the... I've read that. Ursun is no less ubiquitous in the Oblast. The bear is both a popular folk figure and a cohabiting species. It means every Stanista includes someone who reveres Father Bear, first and foremost. Meanwhile, anyone who benefits from a bear kill or just leaves the forest without becoming food for bears will thank Ursun for it. In the wild north, bears can be a constant threat, and every man is aware he owes his life to the forbearance of Ursun as much as his own strength. Friends and enemies, there's much friction between the followers of Uruk and Ursun. Okay, I don't want to involve the followers of Uruk. Holy days. There are only two true holy days of Ursun. The spring equinox, when cultists gather to rouse Ursun from his winter sleep, setting huge bonfires, roasting deer, drinking alcohol, blah 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 blah. And the autumn equinox, when the first harvest is offered up to Ursun, so that he might gorge himself and prepare for his winter's rest. Alright, so we could possibly include the holy days as dilemmas. And what was it? The spring equinox? That's not how you spell equinox. Autumn equinox. Okay. Known miracles. The Sunyi petty spells. Blessing of the licked paw. Priest growls a plea to Ursun to lessen a wound's pain. The target becomes stabilized. The priest growls a plea to Ursun to lessen a wound's pain. Alright, so with that, and hang on, that goes there. So I think that would probably be something the speaker could have. Ability, blessing of the licked paw, Og of the licked paw, and I guess that would be a minor heal, possibly. Memes of Warhammer, they were in the first Kislev lore. Put Order God on YouTube, Great Book of Grudges. Okay. Or Wiki Order Gods, they are worshipping Kislev. Alright, I might check them out. Hellforge says, for Kostaltin, imagine a mechanic like Throt's Lab, but reskinned to the theme of the Great Orthodoxy and the worship of Kislev's pantheon. Kostaltin... Kostaltin, the mad scientist. You'll be able to bless and channel different powers from different gods onto units, but you'll have a chance to drive the units to madness. Ah, interesting. Okay, so the blessings become a double-edged sword. I know this isn't about Kostaltin, but that's an interesting idea. Kostaltin. What was that? Blessings. Blessings from gods onto units. So that would be something like the scrap mechanic that the greenskins use. Units can be driven to madness. So what would that be? Would that be negative leadership? Well, not negative leadership, but less leadership. Is it rampage? Where they lose control, maybe? Arianka, god of order and love, and her husband, god of war and daughter. Oh, could be some of the gods that that Kostaltin deals with. Blessings from the gods. Kislev Pantheon. Check it out. Check it out. Okay. Cleverness. The Hellforger. Maybe the gods deem them to have strayed too far from the path and decide to start sending curses upon them that make heavy debuffs. Oh yeah, that could be it could be interesting. It could be for my Dark Elf one, I'm doing something along the Dark Elf Pantheon, involving 12 of their gods, and I hope to have a part where some gods might get jealous and then affect the player. maybe the gods interfere. Debuffs. I don't know. Alright, let's go start in. Back to Ursun. The second one, Blessing of Ursun. The priest's prayers grant the target greater skill in navigating and surviving from the oblast or during a snowy winter. How would that work? Grant the target greater skill in navigating and surviving. Maybe navigating we can't do, but greater skill in surviving on the oblast. Maybe that would be a small physical resistance buff for a short time. Ability. What's it called? Blessing of Ursun. Oh, simple. Blessing of Ursun. Small buff to physical res. Short time. Hellforger. Yeah, like instability from Throt's lab experiments, where you can buff units, but every time you have a chance to make them unstable. So Kostaltin will buff, but have a chance to drive them mad. Strange, this is not supposed to happen. And the madness can be that instability. The effect can be like a multi-tiered rampage with various degrees and durations of control loss, depending on the level of madness of the unit. Units can be driven to madness, rampage, square brackets, multi-stage. Alright, so those are the Ursini petty spells. So, the divine law of Ursun. So Ursun is the god of bears and patron of Kislev. His cult was introduced by the Gospars almost 1,000 years ago. It's now the most powerful in the land. Priests of Ursun tend to be wild individuals, and many wear sacred skins and holy bear bones. Those called upon Ursun are often uncomfortable around the trappings of civilization and frequently grow lethargic in winter. So Father Bear spell. So I don't believe any of these spells are in the game, because the Law of Ice and the Law of Tempest, I don't think they draw on these. So, whilst I wouldn't go to the trouble of adding in a completely new Law of Magic, because I have no idea where to start on that, picking one or two of these as abilities, which could be given to armies, or to Boris, or the speaker, could be interesting. So Father Bear, the prayer stirs one of Ursun's servants. One bear within range will not attack unless attacked, and will answer any questions the priest poses it. Okay. Drawing from its own knowledge, its voice and sonorous noble, it speaks in the mother tongue of the priest. This prayer does not work on spellcasters using the form of the raging bear. The prayer stirs one of Ursun's servants. One bear within range will not attack unless attacked. Okay, well that's not something that's really useful in the game. Telling your own unit not to attack. Alright, maybe skip that one. Or think of a different use for that term. Growling Fury. The priest's chants fill them with implacable, ferocious rage. This makes them menacing, dangerous when frenzied, and stronger of both body and mind. Okay. Growling Fury. Oops. Actually, let's grab that. I maybe don't have... Ooh, what did I just press? Ah. Cult of Ursun. Divine Law. Law of Ursun. Army abilities. Okay. Growling Fury. So it sounds like it could be a buff to strength, weapon damage. Means of Warhammer, stability effectively multi-thread rampage for various degrees duration. So Memes of Warhammer says, and in Prague's darkest hour, the goddess Arinka shall rise from the dead. She shall smite the hordes of chaos and drive them from this land forever. There shall come a champion, a man of Arinkian law. Ravenous, have them be assigned skills like war priests have got on the speakers. Yeah, there could be that, or there could be army abilities. Maybe a mix of the two. This is some reason I can't get it here. Lol. Skin of the Ice Bear. Prayers draw an Ice Bear's spirit within the priest. For the duration, all of their attacks deal greater damage. They gain keen senses and unsettling to others. This improves their ability to survive the wilds. Alright, it kind of sounds like the same thing. Growling Fury. Priest chants fill them with implacable, ferocious rage. It makes them menacing when frenzied and stronger of both body and mind. Okay. Unyielding Ursun. Well, I don't need to do every single one of them. Unyielding Ursun. Rising prayers tap deep into Kislevite national pride. All Kislevites within range become fearless and unsettling to their enemies. Sorry. Okay, so that one. Unyielding Ursun. I guess that would be a leadership buff. And I'm not sure if it's possible, but if you can tell a unit that it causes fear from a spell. Oh no, I guess that's a question mark. Can you make a unit suddenly cause fear? Assign strength, chant granting the priest some of Ursun's strength, making them powerful brawlers and grappling. That's basically the same again. Winter sleep. Ursini prayers bring the deep sleep of winter upon the priest's enemies. All living creatures in a small area risk falling into a deep sleep for several minutes, rendering them helpless. That could be what's the word I'm looking for? A kind of a net spell, so it holds them in place because they've fallen asleep in place, which would be nice to have actually as Kislev. So that's Winter's sleep. Net spell, hold enemy units in place. Okay, so that's something I've done a number of times before, so that's not a problem. Ursunite beliefs. Despite his wild nature, Ursun is popular in the cities as he is in the Oblast. The status is mostly because the previous Tsar was a... Hang on. I think that's a repeat of what's already up to here. Pretty sure that paragraph is the same. Yeah, those are repeated. Pretty... Unless I've skipped ahead and read that before, I don't know. Signs of Ursun. Besides the depiction of a bear, Ursun is symbolized by a bear claw worn around the neck. The truly devout will wear a gold-plated claw. Gold-plated claw. It is also reverent to dress in a bear skin, but only if the wearer kills the bear. Similarly, some wear an entire bear paw or fix a skull to their helmet or belt, but again only if they killed the bear in question. It is not disrespectful to wear a bear skin that was killed by another, as long as it is not done ostentatiously or ceremonially. Maybe from that, bonuses. Custom Tzar Boris penalties. Bonus earned. Could have. So you might be able to earn a cloak. A cloak. Which is armor. Or you might be able to earn, I don't know what we call it. I don't know, bearskin cloak. Bearskin cloak, which is armor. Might be able to get. They talk about what is it? The talisman, the bear claw talisman. So maybe just some items. Bear claw talisman. I don't need to say what that is. It's obvious what that is. Strictures. Never hunt a bear in winter. Let him sleep as he lets you sleep. Okay. Come back to that. Unique items from the hunts. Like they're made from the bear bits. Yes, Glavnus. That's what I was thinking. Could have a few things, I guess. Maybe, I guess if you've got the claw, you've got the skin cloak. They say they use the skull. What that would represent, I don't know. Maybe it's tooth. Again, I don't know. Alright, so strictures. Never hunt a bear in winter. Let him sleep as he lets you sleep. Could be a restriction on the on when you can perform a bear hunt, maybe? Where are the bear hunts? Bear hunt restrictions. Bear hunt restrictions. Stricture. And then brackets. Never hunt a bear in winter. Oops. Hunt a bear in winter. Now I know the game doesn't have a concept of seasons, but maybe we could introduce something like that. I don't know. Just a thought. Wake the bear in spring and feed him well before his winter rest. Okay, don't know if we can make much of that. Bears must only be killed by the strength of your hand or the flight of an arrow. Ah, okay. So that would be a part of the disrespectful thing. Which means no cavalry, no melee, perhaps. Strength of your hand or the flight of an arrow. Yeah, it's kind of hard to say no melee because even the ranged units use swords in close combat. But it might be possible to limit that. Only display the hide, claw, tooth, or skull of a bear you have killed yourself. Okay, I don't think it's possible to limit items to specific heroes, so I think I'll ignore that one. Shun the comforts of indoor life whenever possible. In particular, all ablutions and bathing must be done outdoors. Okay, that's not relevant. Eat fish at least once a week, as the bear does. Never eat fish and another meat on the same day, as this is wasteful. I don't think that could be useful. No, I mean, they seem to make a fuss of fish, but no, I don't think so. Alright, we're getting pretty close to the end here. So, cleverness. Hibernation could be like a bit of flavour for a hunt cooldown, maybe. Yes, that's yeah, because you'd want to cool down between hunts, because you don't want to have the player doing them constantly. So cool down for hunts. Hibernation. Consider melee as the strength of the hand. Flavor bits for dilemmas with the fish. Oh, my cats would like that. Fish flavor. Where's the dilemma stuff? Yeah, I'm not sure how the fish might fit in. Well, let's just quickly look at the cultists. So, the role of chief priest is held until death. It's considered bad luck for a chief priest to die outside of battle or hunt. The bear does not die sleeping, is the adage used. Upon the death of a priest, or chief priest, the honour passes to the strongest warrior amongst the remaining priests. At times, Ursun is known to choose a great high priest, who is the chief priest of all of Kislev, and that's Tzar Boris. Ursun speaks to him about the fate of the whole land and the path of its people. High priests are found through signs and portents. Perhaps a child born with a bear-shaped birthmark may be destined for such a role. Chief priest who slays a terrible ice bear may be called by Ursun to be his voice. The high priest before Boris Ursus, the shaman Hagrim Bear Brother, was lost in the snow as a youngling and found alive the next spring in the cave of a mother bear, and the tale of the choosing of Tzar Boka is well known. Like the chief priest, the high priest is responsible for ensuring all the people of the land show proper respect to Father Bear. When the high priest is close to death, he is often given a vision of the next high priest, allowing the title to be passed on. Other times the position lays vacant until Ursun needs such a servant again. Many believe high priests rise when Kislev is in great need, and Ursun must prepare his followers against invasion or some other great trial. Alright, so we know Tzar Boris is the high priest, it says in his law. So if it's the lords and heroes that go on the hunts, maybe they can get not an attribute. What's the word I'm looking for? Maybe once a lord has been on a hunt, they get a tag which says they're a priest. And if you've got a lord that's been on several hunts, he can become a chief priest and get better bonuses for that. It's Lords, Heroes. Can become Chief Priest. Trait. That's what I'm looking for. Traits. So Lords and Heroes gain the Priest trait for Respectful Hunt. Priest can, let's say can gain, let's not make it 100%. Can gain the priest trait for Respectful Hunt. Repeated repeated hunts by same character. Can become repeated hunts by same character means they can become a chief priest. I don't know. Increased skills. I don't know. Bonus. No, let's just say bonuses. What those bonuses are, I don't know. Okay, all right. Let's have a look at chat. Flavor bits of dilemmas. Like having a shortage of fish in a city, could choose what to do with it, and that could affect food or devotion. Yeah, the fish in dilemmas. Yes, let's put that in. So this is the dilemma one. Dilemmas, food shortage. Gift to the bears. Etc. It's the wrong. I want that. Like unique traits from hunts then. Okay, so I was thinking you'd have the generic. Where was the traits? Where did I put the traits? Yeah, there. Okay. Traits. Oops. From hunts. Okay. So, Lords and Heroes would gain the basic trait, I guess, for a respectful hunt. Repeated might be thingy ones, but yeah, maybe there could be some unique ones based on the dilemmas that you had to go through. Unique traits based on the dilemmas in the journey / hunt, maybe. All right, let's save this off. So where do we want to save this? Eternal Dynasties version 1. No, we don't want to save this here. Let's go a new folder and call this ideas. And then we'd have a new folder, Kislev. And then this would be Cult of Ursun. Okay. Glavinus says, yeah, that's what I was thinking, but maybe could gain some more from dilemmas along the way. Yep, that sounds good. Sounds very good. All right. So I think that's enough of the lore. I'd say there's a fair amount there to sink our teeth into. So we'd have bear hunt, probably using that version, and then the building of the shrine, and then we'd get some additional things like army abilities based on the divine lore of Ursun along the way. So there's the ideas for it. I guess next time we start thinking about the user interface. How would we represent this? So let's say we do go along the lines of the dilemmas. I guess the dilemmas we don't really have to put too much thought into how we represent it. We just need some images for the things. But for the screen, for the creating of the for the shrine, maybe the applying of the army abilities, that sort of thing, we'll need to come up with something. But that I think is for next time. I've actually gone longer than I intended to here. I hope this has been interesting for anybody who stuck with it and watched. It was just a lot of talking. I know, not really much, no action, but. Yeah, I hope it's been interesting. I hope that, if you have any further ideas, please throw them in the comments section. I'd like this Cult of Ursun mechanic to be something that's built up with the community, and not just something that I throw together, because I think I do plenty of stuff by myself. You had fun, Glavius? That's good. Glavinus, sorry. Now, before I go, I'll been hella interesting, bro. Cheers. Before I go, I'll just give you a quick look at what the current progress is on the Dark Elves. So Dark Elves currently have, let's see, let's go to here. So this is just Photoshop. So before I started the stream, I was just messing around with what I thought I might use for some parts of for the user interface for the Cult of Ursun. I like this background. I think it might find a place in there, but I'm not sure. Now let's Dark Elves. Let's see. That's Dark Elf Pantheon, isn't it? Is it that one? Nope, not that one. That one, I think, is probably the better one. Right, Warhammer Dark Elves, and we want screens. Where are we? Okay, so we got 6 Dark Elf Lords currently. Is it that one? Yep, that's the one. And I need to open up another file as well. Dark Elves. It's not deity background. Is it deity backgrounds? Nope. Is that the one? I think that might be the one. Hello, Lita. Yeah, I'll be with you in a moment, Lita. No, okay, that's not the one I wanted. I wanted just the actual files. Okay, so we'll come back to that in a moment. Alright, so this will be the main screen for the main mechanic for the Dark Elves, which is going to be... how do I best explain it? There'll be some sort of devotion resource, which you can use to choose a path to certain skills. So if we look at the default for Malekith, so Malekith's screen, he'll start off with this one tile, which is devoted to Cain. And then I haven't decided whether the player gets to choose or whether it's just random, but there'll be an additional tile for each, 4 additional tiles, each one relating to a specific god in the Dark Elf Pantheon. So that one might be Anathrema, that might be Nethu, could have Ladriel and Erithkiel, perhaps? I don't know. So what the player gets to do is when they click on here, they would open up. When they click on this, it would then expand into the tile where you get to see the path to certain skills. So these are all runes based on the Elven language. Can't remember exactly what each one means at the moment, but what the player does is they spend their points to find a path to the runes they want, and that unlocks abilities or bonuses for different types of units based on whichever god you're dealing with, and then you can find the path out to these connector points, and then in your center tile, you can go to each one of these connectors and bring up another one. So the player might start with Cain and decide to go to it might go to the left and end up coming into Mathlands, and then they'd go through the path for Mathlands, and then of course choose the skills there. Now on top of these choosing the skills that you want to go to, each tile will have 2 sets of bonuses. So it will have, like if you've ever played Stellaris, you've got what are they called in Stellaris? There's a system where you can choose benefits for your culture, and you'll have a starting an adoption bonus, and then you'll have the different bonuses for choosing different tiles, and then you'll have a completion bonus. This will have the same sort of thing. So when you first put your first point into this tile of Cain, you'll get a bonus, and once you've completed the entire tile of Cain, you'll get a completion bonus. So the player has to choose, well, do I want to concentrate on Cain, or do I want to unlock another god and get their bonuses too? So there's a bit of choice there for the player, and each god has a different layout with a different background. So they've got a bit of visual uniqueness about them. So it's just taken images basically from the Dark Elf cutscenes and overlaying them. I think it could be an interesting mechanic, something that hasn't really been in Warhammer before. Although I guess you could say it's a little bit like a tech tree, but it's a tech tree, but not. So that's what the Dark Elves will be getting when they first come to Warhammer 3. Although that's a long way off, because we've gone a long way before Immortal Empires appears. Yes, so currently figuring out. So I came up with the UI. I've written down the skills and things that will be from each of these. Figuring out the best way now to allow the player to actually traverse. The best way to traverse the tiles. So hopefully that'll be interesting when that comes out. I don't want to save any changes to that. Anyway, so the Cult of Ursun. I think that that's a good start. I'll be honest. When I started this, I wasn't sure what we'd find in the lore, but I'm pretty happy. I think the thing of bear hunts is something different. I mean, we do have monster hunts for Norsca and that, but having bear hunt dilemma thing would be nice. And the building of the shrine, adding the two together, it could be really good. So thank you to everybody who joined today and put forward their ideas. And if you've got any more ideas, please let me know in the comments. Let's just have a quick look at the chat before I go. So Obion been hella interesting. Memes, can you read about Arianka? Okay, let me put a note. I think I said something about the gods. Where was it? Where did I put that thing about the gods? Shrine, Landmark, Kostaltin. Alright, that's right. He was part of that one. So, Arianka. And that's a god. Okay, I'll have a look at that. Obion. Oh, the cat. Yes, Lita. One of my cats, Lita. She's demanding that I pay her attention. Before you end the stream, I think you should have a look about the same order gods before you forget about them. Okay, maybe we'll do that. Gonna get to sleep, bro. It was an amazing stream. Looking forward to the next one. Well, thank you for joining me, Obion. I hope you have a good sleep. Thank you very much. All right, so at the request of Memes of Warhammer, let's have a quick look at that god. So let's expand this. So I guess it's going to be Warhammer. Kislev. Arianka, is that correct? Arianka. Okay, so Arianka is one of the gods of law. Alright, so let's follow that link. What are the gods of law? The gods of law are gods who came into existence at the same time as the chaos gods with the Aether, and are dedicated to their own ideals of permanence and stability in the direct opposition to the ruinous power's drive. Interesting. So we've got Illuminus, Arianka, and Solkan. So Illuminus, Master of Light. Arianka, the distant past Arianka was defeated and imprisoned by an unnamed chaos god. Said she now lies in the crystal coffin, hidden in the old world, perhaps even in Prague. Okay. Interesting. Solkan is a master of vengeance, an angry god who inflicts retribution. Alright, so thinking a mechanic for Kostaltin. I don't know what relevance Kostaltin has with, what link he has with Arianka, but maybe he could be on a quest to find this coffin or unlock it somehow. Maybe he has to find clues to unlock the coffin. Who knows? Back to Arianka. So in the distant past, she was defeated. She can be freed from a coffin only by means of some crystal keys, whose location has never been found. It is not even known how many keys there are and whether they are hidden together separately. Okay, so we could have something along the lines of the mechanic like the Tomb Kings have with their Books of Nagash. But you're looking for the crystal keys to unlock Ariana. Maybe once you've unlocked her, you get access to, I don't know, unique magic abilities, perhaps? It's rumoured that Prague has been so often attacked by the forces of chaos because of what lay concealed there. Even after the city was sacked during the Great War against Chaos, this might refer to Arianka. According to the cult of Sulcan, the demon Mardag that was destroying the Tylian city of Ramas, removal of the elves from the old world, was only stopped when Sulcan sent it to Vidag to battle him. Okay, so that's nothing to do with... Oh, no, hang on. They fought, so the cult says, for a year and a day before the god spirit conquered the demon and imprisoned his soul in a bottle. Some elves think that such spirits are associated with another god of law, Arianka. Okay, so that's just a minor link. Okay, so Arianka... I mean, if Castaltin does follow more than a single god, then that could make a decent mechanic. It's so like the Books of Nagash, the Keys of Prague, or the Keys of Arianka. Okay, I'll jot that down and keep that in mind for Castaltin. So thank you, Memes of Warhammer. Okay, so I've run over a bit, so as I said, thank you very much to everybody who joined, and I'll hope to see you in the next one. I don't know when that will be, hopefully not too long. I'll see what I can find in the way of maybe UI elements and images and things that we might be able to use around the design of the shrine, or the bear hunts. Yeah. So thank you very much for dropping by. And good night. Yeah, good night, Memes of Warhammer. Have a good night. So I'm Great Tiger, and I'll see you next time.